Well, I think for me, the most valuable aspect of your business or your business with me, your relationship, is the coaching side.
The coaching side.
I have been involved in Facebook and social media marketing for a long time. I've run my own adverts. I know how Facebook Manager work. I can set up my own campaigns. However, I find it extremely useful dealing with you and seeing what you guys are doing and answering the questions and working along. And as you've noticed, I'd like to do things a little bit different than everybody else,
Yeah.
um, which is part of my downfall as well. but I've always taken the view, especially if you guys are very successful and we all post the same adverts, it's not going to help me very much.
Yeah,
And
it doesn't. It doesn't. I have all these people. They're like, well, what if I'm running the same ads as somebody else? And I have to explain to them, it's almost like trying to drain the ocean with a teaspoon.
correct. No,
There's,
I realize that. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, and that's why I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy to work with you, but I'm extremely appreciative of the coaching and
yeah.
the fact that I can have questions. Like hopefully after this, I can quickly ask you a few questions
Oh,
on
you
my
got me all
current
day.
advert.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Of
and
course.
and those are and that is for me is invaluable because I'm not a social media marketing guru.
Mhm.
You guys are, and so that's a great asset for me. And that's my main thing. If I had to go and set up my own Facebook ads or Instagram ads or TikTok ads, I can do that, and I have done that before.
Right.
Various levels of success. What I loved so far about your program is that every time I've launched something, I get between 1 and 4 leads per day. Um, and what I appreciate most of it is that this is a very difficult market for us. I went through the '08 crash, so I know what difficult markets are, and this is about as difficult as you can get.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I get leads, I'm not too worried about the quality of the leads. That we need to fine tune, and I'm trying to work with you to fine tune that. And I'm also not worried that people aren't doing anything because they're not doing anything in general. If you look at closed sales, it's down to the levels of 2008.
Right. Right. No,
Um,
you're absolutely right about that. And in a market, in a time where the cost per lead can really make or break a business, it would be
right,
this time right now, right?
correct.
Imagine if you were in this market paying a lead gen company $2,000 a month, $4,000 a
Oh,
month.
I was
Much
buying
better
leads
business.
last year at $350 a lead.
My gosh. Yeah, yeah. And now, and the great part about this is that you never have to do it again, right?
Right.
Because once you're getting leads at wholesale cost, there's no reason for you to go anywhere else, right? And
Yeah. No, but I was buying it from UWM, and this was
uh-huh,
the top of the line leads, and everything was going well. But what amazed me was the quality of leads that I'm getting now is not no different than the quality of leads that I'm getting then.
right,
And so it shows me that's just the market. So this is a
right.
much better system that we have,
And
or that
that,
you have.
yeah, and as you know, I talk about that in the coaching calls. The only thing that could dictate lead quality is the market because
Correct.
we can't target people by income, loan amount, credit score. It's illegal. The
Correct.
platforms don't allow you to do it. So everybody is pretty much playing on the same level playing field. So when one company has crappy leads, all of them do, right?
They're all useless. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
so
my other major thing is that I've been putting a lot of effort into developing a realtor base.
yes.
And I've gone through a number of I started off with LinkedIn, and I linked in with 260 realtors in the 6 states.
Right.
And then I went through and I got them all analyzed as to who does the business and who doesn't, because you find that whenever you call a realtor and they actually want to talk to you, they're not doing any business. And
Right.
they want you to buy them Zillow leads. And
Or
when you get to the guys that do business, they don't want to talk to you. and they
Right.
get 5,000 calls a day.
Yeah. You have to lead with value.
Yes, and now that is my approach, because and that's what's making this that much more important for me, because what I've noticed in all the leads that I've gotten from you guys and that I've gotten from my own direct marketing, they don't work with realtors. I get them way before they work with a realtor. So
Yeah, about
60,
70% is
yeah,
about 70% don't even have a real
70%
estate
don't
agent.
work with realtors. So my hope is once I can get some better leads, I can call this high-flying realtor and say, hey, I have a lead for you. Then they'll talk to me.
Right. Yeah,
So that
absolutely.
so that's my strategy.
That's exactly what Alan Parker Duke is doing. And he's been able to get tons of realtor relationships using our leads, right?
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, look, stop asking realtors to get a cup of coffee. Everybody's asking them to do that.
Oh
You
yeah. Whenever
have to
they
lead
hear,
with value.
whenever I call them and they actually pick it up, they say, yeah, but I get 500 calls for coffee. I'll be so coffeeed out. So I don't even ask them for coffee. What I now do is I call them, I send out my interest rate newsletter and then I call them to ask them their opinion on the market in and they talk to me a little
Right.
more frequently about that.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. What would you say to somebody who is on the fence about working with us, who maybe thinks that they can't do this, they can't do it themselves? What would you say to them?
Oh, I have already spoken to a number of my colleagues at C2. I go to all of their meetings and I've said, this is the best thing for you guys, because amazingly enough, even though I'm an old guy, I'm leading the pack there in terms of social media marketing. And so they all come and talk to me about it. And I say, and because they know nothing about it.
Right.
And I said, this is by far, and I've given your name out a lot, this is by far the best way. If you're going to go into social media, this is what you're going to do, because you have the advantage that you don't have to create content. You don't have to figure out how Business Manager works.
Right.
You don't have to select your own audiences. You don't have to select all these other things, which I've had to do, which is
Right.
bloody difficult if you don't know what you're
Oh
doing.
yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated.
And for the price, why don't you do it? Now, the resistance that I have found with them is that at this stage, they're doing nothing. And they say,
Yeah.
look, I have to pay money, and then I've got to put up $1,000 a month for ad spend, and I get 100 leads, but they're all worthless. So why am I doing this?
Yeah. So and I tell people the general rule of thumb is this. Anything lower than 100 leads is not a legitimate sample size. For every 100 leads that you get, you should be closing 2 to 3 loans for every 100 leads that you get. Those are just the numbers. These have been the
I'd
numbers.
be so lucky.
Yeah, these are the numbers for the past 4 years. For every 100 leads, you should have 2 to 3 deals. Now, what I tell people is this. Look, it's so funny because that you say that, because a lot of people say that, well, listen, the market's bad, so I think I'm just going to wait it out.
They're
33%
all
of loan
doing.
officers lost their jobs last year from waiting it out. That's what
Correct.
they
You
did. They
can't.
sat on their hands. You
Correct.
have to do something about it,
And
right?
it takes you forever. Like I've been doing social media marketing now for more than a year. I'm only now starting to get traction where I get 30, 40, 50, and in some cases more than 1,000 views on a thing. But it's more. But in the beginning, nobody looked at my stuff. It's
Right.
just over and over and over again, and
Growing.
now they're getting there. So
Yeah.
you say the 2, 3 leads. In my experience, a successful campaign for me was out of 100 leads, I'd get 10 people that would talk to me, and I'd get one person to do
Yeah.
a deal.
And
If
that's
I
right.
get,
Your contact success rate should be 10, and you should convert about 3% of the 100.
well, I've only, if I get one, I'm
Right.
very
You're
happy.
happy, right? Because and that's because the cost per lead is so low, right?
Correct.
And the difference between us and a lead gen company is if you close a deal with us, well,
Right.
then this software pays for itself for the next 3 years. If
Correct.
you get a deal with a lead gen company, you still owe them money,
Money in our opinion.
right? Because it takes 90 days to close a loan. So
Correct.
really, we're just trying to mitigate all of the risk and all of the overhead costs that
Right.
it costs to do business as a loan officer in this market.
Correct.
and that's the whole idea
And
here.
I think you've got a great thing if you can get the message out. But just like me, you're going to have to be patient
It takes
because
education.
yeah,
Yeah, it takes education, and I think our affiliate program is going to really be what grows us even more and what gets the word out. The best advertising is word of mouth, right?
correct,
And when you're hearing it from your peers and they're saying, "Hey, look, all that bull crap that you've been searching, you've been looking for companies with better lead quality. No, that's a myth. The Fair Housing Act says that we can't target by income, loan amount, or credit score, which means you couldn't find better lead quality if you wanted to. You've
correct,
been searching for the wrong thing. The right thing that you need to search for is how do we get leads for the lowest cost possible? Because the last thing you should do is stop buying leads, right?
correct,
You need to make your business go. So,
correct.
at companies like Nexa Mortgage, where you're required to get your own leads. I don't know how C2 Financial, if they're required to. I know they allow them to. But if in the companies where they require you to get your own leads, it's like, man, if you're going to get these leads, you better get them at wholesale
No,
cost.
C2 requires you; they give you no leads.
They give you no leads, right? So they require
Correct.
you to get your own leads, right?
Yeah,
Yes. So for a company like yours, Johann, like for example, Alan Parker Duke, he's going to be making 15 to 30 grand a month for sitting on his butt.
right.
So if you got us into C2,
Yeah.
you'd probably be making a lot of money for doing
And
nothing.
I suspect I could. I've got great relationships with them, with the leaders,
Right.
so I suspect I could do that.
And the important thing is that you believe in the product, right? That you
Oh
stand by
yeah,
it, of course.
yeah,
And I know you do. And it's been awesome. It's been awesome having you on the coaching calls. For us, our mission is just, hey, we want to empower loan officers to be completely self-sufficient, right?
right.
And to be able to survive in any market. This is the key to surviving in this market.
Oh yeah, the whole business is getting leads in, because
Yep.
that opens the door to realtors to me, that opens the door to all types of to lenders to me,
Right.
everything. If I've got some leads, I've got to get leads. That is the name of the game.
Absolutely. So, Johann, I really appreciate you, hopping on this call with me. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence about working with us, who's maybe a little bit scared in this market?
It's interesting because there are quite a few people like that in the mortgage
Oh
loan
yeah,
origination business, because they are not social media experts.
right,
In actual fact, they know very little about social media,
right,
and it is a daunting task to get involved. And what I tell all of my colleagues, why it is such a great way of working with you, is you don't have to create your own content. You
right.
don't need to figure out how Facebook ad manager works.
Yeah, we
You don't
take away
have
the
to,
daunting part, right? Yeah,
correct. And you don't have to, once you get into a Facebook manager, they ask you all types of questions of what type of campaign you want to lead. And then they say, what sort of audience? Is it a cloned audience or
yeah,
what
yeah,
sort?
yeah.
Who knows what that is?
Yep,
And you guys do. That's what you do. And so it takes all of that work out. But then there's also the flexibility, which I really appreciate, is that it allows me to load up my own content, and it allows me to do a lot of work with you that I like to do. But the best is that I get coaching from you, and I can listen to what other loan officers do. So it's the best coaching program for a mortgage loan originators out there, especially those that are realizing that we need to get into social media marketing.
absolutely. And I say this all the time. I say, listen, there's plenty of other mortgage marketing coaches out there, but none of them have ran a multi-million-dollar lead generation company in mortgage. There's a big difference. Let them teach you how to close the deal, but let me show you how to get people to the door. Right.
Correct.
So, that's the whole idea here. And look, we do, help you close the deal. We talk about call strategies and the best ways to handle these leads. But like I said, we're growing every day. More and more people are buying in, but it's people like you who come to the coaching calls, who really like kind of are the heart of our business. So
I'm
really,
surprised. I'm surprised that people aren't jumping at it. But what I have found with the people that I've spoken with is the market is so tough that they don't want to spend $1,000 a month on lead generation, and you get leads, but they're not worth anything.
Right, right, right. No, people are, listen, that's the general, that is the general mentality of a lot of loan officers. And, most of them, and unfortunately, a lot of those loan officers are not loan officers anymore, right? Because
Correct.
they sat on their hands and did nothing. When I started my lead gen company, it was at the beginning of COVID. And everybody told me, nobody's going to buy your service. No, the world is shut down. And I
Correct.
was like, no, no, no. This is when you have to push the
Correct.
pedal to the metal. 11 months later, we're making $500,000 a month, right?
Correct. No,
So
that is
whenever
fantastic.
when
And
everybody goes left, you got to go right.
correct. But that was I've been in the financial services business since 1980, and I've seen these cycles come and go.
Yep.
And Baron Rothschild in France in the French Revolution said, if you want to make real money, you make money when the blood is running in the streets.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is where we are now.
Yep.
Now, it's tough to do that because somebody could also kill you while you're out there. But if you can survive that, this
Yes.
is the time when you lay the foundation because, as you say, a lot of people are leaving the industry and it's going to turn. And when it turns, you're going to be the last man standing.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we plan on it, and we plan on our other mortgage lead hackers people to be those people. We have this term, it's called the next gen loan officer, or loan
Right.
officer 2.0. And our
Right.
mission is to create loan officers who are completely self-sufficient. And
Correct.
they run this like they run like any business owner would run it. And that's the whole idea here. So anyways, Johan, I appreciate you hopping on this call so much. And I'm really looking forward to the next few months. Hopefully, we get you some closed deals. I know it's very early on, but I'm confident, if you keep coming to the coaching calls and if you need any extra help,
So I'm very
you know to
happy
reach out.
because since I've started this, every time I launch a little campaign just testing the waters, I get leads every day.
And you can turn them off and on when you want, which is the beauty of it. You
Correct. And
mitigate that risk.
which is what I do. I check and see what happens and see what I get, and then I go try and figure it out again, pivot to something else, and then try and do it again. But the beauty is every time I do it, I get leads.
Right.
And that's fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for hopping on this call, Johan, and I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow at the coaching call.
Pleasure. May I just
Yes,
ask you a
100%.
few questions?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll turn this recording off and we'll go at
Okay.
it. Of course.